Mr. Kinzinger and Mr. Doyle for their work on this. I'd like to speak briefly on a measure contained in the bill dealing with the nuclear plant decommissioning process. Vermont has a decommissioned nuclear plant. More and more are going offline. There will be the issues that Mr. Doyle mentioned that we have to contend with. But one of the things we have to focus on is the impact on the communities and the rulemaking process at the NRC. The provision in the bill that I'm speaking about, Section 8 of AINS, contains a sense of Congress provision stating that a safe, effective, and efficient decommissioning process for nuclear reactors that supports the principles of good regulation, including openness, clarity, and reliability, is vital to all licensees and local communities, and that the NRC should complete the final rulemaking in the next 18 months. I'm very happy that that provision was included by Mr. Kinzinger and Mr. Doyle. The impact of the decommissioning on local communities is very significant. As you know, the NRC is currently developing a draft regulatory guidance to determine how a nuclear plant decommissioning should unfold. We have regulation in places guiding the development of new nuclear reactors, but Vermont's experience with Vermont Yankee has shown that we lack a coherent structure on how reactors should be taken down after their useful life. And to that end, this is an important rulemaking that I was pleased to see the NRC update. Yet I'm concerned by the direction the NRC is heading. While the Commission appears to be inclined to use rulemaking to sign off on the nuclear industry's wish list of cost-saving measures, such as streamlined safety exemptions, it fails to address the concerns of state and local communities across the country that are hosting nuclear reactors and want a seat at the table. There are several specific concerns that I have with the current approach at the NRC, and other members who have plants that are going to go offline might share these. Lack of state and local stakeholder involvement, questionable use of the decommissioning trust fund, such as for spent fuel management, the reality that the use of safe store decommissioning procedures will effectively delay a full cleanup and redevelopment of nuclear sites for decades, the reduction of emergency planning functions during periods when spent fuel remains in spent fuel pools. It's apparent that the industry would like to narrow the scope of this rulemaking to only what they deem the most pressing matters. I believe we must push back on that. We're at a critical point that will shape how communities deal with decommissioning for decades. It's imperative that the NRC take a comprehensive approach to this that guarantees host communities a seat at the table. I want to work with Mr. Kinzinger and Mr. Doyle to see if we can build on Section 8 in their bill of this legislation to encourage NRC to address these issues as part of the rulemaking, and I hope Mr. Doyle and Mr. Kinzinger, we can work together on that going forward. Thank you, and I yield back.
Chairman yields back. Other members wishing to speak? Seeing none.